3 R's, which I'm going to tell you the 3 R's in a moment. Here's the 3 R's. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to try and give a bit of capsulization as to what I mean by these 3 R's. The first one was receiving divine love. To receive divine love, you have to believe what God says about you. Don't believe what your friend says about you. Don't believe what your spouse says about you. You believe what your grandkids say about you up till about age, I don't know, 5? No, it's got to be older. 8? 8. 21. 21. You're dreaming in Technicolor, you are. All right? But we want to believe what God says about me. So in receiving the love of God, you have to say, well, what does God say about me? All right? What does God believe about me? And when we want to return divine love, we want to believe what God says about himself. See, God is getting a bad reputation from a lot of bad people, right? So you got to get rid of that. You want to release divine love, return divine love by believing what God says about himself. And then you want to release divine love. So to release divine love, I gotta believe what God says about Terry Lynn, not what I believe about Terry Lynn. And what I believe about Terry Lynn is none of your business, right? But for me to release divine love to her, I have to believe what Jesus says about Terry Lynn. In other words, my opinion doesn't matter. So if you want to release divine love, you got to lose your opinion, which as Canadians is very simple to do. We have no opinions about anybody or anything, right? It's, spend a little bit of time on Facebook and you just see that. Everybody's just bubbling with acceptance and love to everybody that's breathing. So, Lord, I'm praying right now, in Jesus' name, there are people here that don't believe what you believe about them. They are. They're stuck with that. There's a glitch in their thinking, in their theology, in their mind. And I pray, Lord, that you would come and bring healing to people's minds and understanding even this morning. Lord, fill me with divine love. This is long for you to read together, but I'm going to read it to you because we'll get tripped up. Lord, fill me with divine love and release your love into me, into my mind, into my thoughts, and into my actions. Let your love flow through me to others. I don't need my love to flow through me. I need God's love to flow through me, which means I need God's opinion of you, not my opinion. Right? So, Lord, give me eyes to see what and who you see. Wow. That's a dangerous prayer to pray. You may want to avoid that one. Lord, let my hands touch those whom you want to touch, right? So my hands are holy hands. Lord, give me ears to hear those whom you want to listen to, right? Lord, release your love through me. So when you see yourself in the mirror, you go, wow, look at that. Those are divine ears. Those are divine eyes. These hands are divine hands. And Lord, I want your love to flow through me so that I would see people the way that you see them. I would hear them the way that you'd hear them, and I would touch them the way that you would touch them. This is an old slide you probably remember, but nevertheless, God is pouring out his agape love into my heart. I return that agape love, and then I release that to others. And so what God is asking us to do is learn to release the love that he's pouring into our hearts. This is very key. That which I receive, I release. That which I receive, I release. So the Leafs were rotten until the third period last night. Did anybody watch that? All you Leaf fans out there? Oh, they were bad, eh? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie, for agreeing with me. So in the second period, Maple Leaf defenseman, Bergman, that's the guy's name? Borgman. He leveled somebody from Ottawa, whoever he was. He just leveled him. It was kind of probably a little bit of a late check. He went past and just cleaned the guy's clock. It was, old-fashioned hockey, the guys on the ice. And then another senator, Ottawa senator, jumped on Borgman. And what did Borgman do? Anybody watch this? Anybody know what Borgman did? He caved. He caved like any good Swede would do. I don't know what he was. I don't know if he's a Swede. And so the senator guy's just pummeling him, and he's on the ice, and he's protecting himself until the refs dragged him off. All right? Are you with me? And that's because what he received, he released, and there was something that didn't quite connect. You can't check in the NHL anymore. You shake hands, you give them a hug, but you don't check in the new NHL. And if you check in the new NHL, what happens? The goon goes after him right away because you can't check in hockey anymore. It's like boring. You shake hands, you say, God bless you. Could I have the puck now? So you don't check anymore. If you check in the new NHL, you get attacked and you get punched out. So stick with me. This will make sense for all you non-hockey people. That which I receive, I release. So people think, well, obviously Borgman wants to fight because he checked. Doesn't he understand? You can't check in the NHL and not fight afterwards. Because that which you receive, you release. So listen, I need to receive something so that I can release something. If I don't receive anything, I can't give anything. And watch this, there's even more. If I don't release that which I receive, the releasing flow will stop. So this is what the Lord's doing in this church right now. The Lord is stirring our hearts. He's filling us with divine love. And you can sense that. God's doing something. And if you don't notice that, that's because you're dead. It's just a passing. So, God is doing something here. He's filling us with love. If we don't release it to one another, then God will say, well, I'm pulling my love out. I guarantee you that's exactly what he'll do. He'll pull that divine love out and he'll take it somewhere else. Because he will stop flowing in if we stop releasing it. Which is a cautionary note for all of us. He will stop flowing that. Stop releasing it if we don't flow with it. The goal is for STPA to become a loving, caring, welcoming family. And I know you think you are, but don't fool yourself, you're not. Don't get a bloated opinion. Don't get egos as big as a house. Okay, you're not bad, but you're not really hot with this. Don't be insulted. It's just the cold, hard facts, all right? Our goal is to be a loving, caring, welcoming family. So watch how this works. Number one, we have to receive divine love, and it's on this premise that we need to love one another. If God had no plan for us, he wouldn't release divine love. But he does it from this premise. He's pouring out his love on us so that we could love one another. Because as Larry Brett keeps on telling us over and over again, so Larry, I'm listening. I'm just making sure everybody else is. He keeps on telling us this over and over again. If you can't love somebody in the pew, how are you going to love the jerk out in the street who acts like a jerk? Seriously, ask yourself the question. If you can't love somebody's teeth clean and tidy and sitting in the pew next to you, how are you going to love your nattering neighbor or the person down the street who's annoying? No, seriously, ask ourselves that question. So we need to allow that flow of divine love, and we need to learn to release it. And so that's kind of what we're going to mess around with bit by bit. Okay? Now, before I go on, I want you to grab this. True love, if it's true love, has to be manifested or has to be released. Otherwise, it's not true love. I can say until I'm blue in the face, Bruce Mercer, I love you with all my heart. You're a great buddy of mine. Well, that means squat. Buy the guy a cup of coffee. Now you're talking. Take them out for supper. Now you're talking. Give them a ride somewhere. Now you're talking. Anybody can flap their jaws and say, well, I love you. Right? Love means nothing without expression. Love means nothing without expression. So you grab that bulletin. Where's that bulletin-y thing that we're doing?
He's talking about the bucket.
The bucket. Fill a bucket, baby. All right? It's the winter bowl. Well, this isn't just a cute little idea that we dreamed up. It's giving you a license, and it's giving you the ABCs of expression. Because love that isn't expressed is really an upset stomach from too much pizza the night before. That's all it is. So love isn't a feeling. Love is an expression. Love is a service one to another. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Well, some of you sit back. Nobody. Whose bulletin was this? I cover these 4 words, and I'm going to do 2 of them again today. I did this, last June. There's 4 Greek words for love. You're going to find 2 in the Bible, but the Greeks use 4 words. Phileo. Phileo love means this kind of love. It's kind of a natural affection to those who belong to you. It's often expressed in a friendship setting. It's often expressed with close relatives. All right? So, like, I love Uncle Jamie. He's a great brother-in-law. That's kind of how that does. Agape, this is a term that we're most familiar with, and I'll describe it on the next slide as well. It's the idea of self-sacrificing love. So if I agape love you, it has nothing to do with feelings. It has to do with me laying down my life for you, helping you, and looking after you, and caring for you. Eros, love, the Greeks use, is love that is physical, it's sensual, it's intimacy, it's between a husband and wife, and expresses itself sexually, romantic, and attraction. And storge love is a love that's used strictly in a family and nowhere else. But the only words you're going to find in the Bible is phileo and agape, or some derivatives thereof. The most popular word for love is agape. This is a little bit of a repetition, but this isn't. I just put this slide together, and I think I've done a fine job on this slide. Thank you for manifesting love, wife. Okay, so here you go. Again, you've got agape. This is the self-sacrificing love. It's divine love. It's used 320 times in the New Testament. So it's a very popular word for love. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Here in his love, not that God loved us, not that we loved us, not that I love God, but God loved us and sent his Son as the propitiation for our sin. Those kind of verses, okay? It's used 320 times, which means that 88% of the time when you read the word love, it's probably the word agape. All right? Phileo is only used 12% of the time. So if you add 12 and 88, you get... See, you guys are sharp today, all right? Phileo, again, it means brotherly love. It means affection, and it has 6 derivatives. And I'm going to share with you 6 derivatives because you wanted to know that, right? Yes, thank you very much, yeah. It's used 42 times, okay? So Phileo is used 42 times, and I'm going to show you the 6 derivatives. All right, the first derivative is of course, the city of brotherly love. It is the city of Philadelphia. It's used 5 times. It means brotherly love. Philadelphos, which is a suburb of Philadelphia, is used 1 time. It means love as brethren. Philandros, that's the mayor of Philadelphia. It's used 1 time. And it's loving her husband. So obviously the mayor is a female. Philanthropia is used twice. Philanthropos used 1 time. Phileo is used 25. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this concept of brotherly love. And I'm going to talk this week and next week on 5 love stoppers. That's good, eh? Here's 5 verses that uses the terminology Philadelphia, brotherly love. Here's the first one. Romans 12 and 10. Can you see this? All right, do you want to read it with me? Because it's a little shorter. Julian. Well, Julian doesn't want to read, but maybe everybody else does. Ready? Just the Romans one. Here we go. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another. 1 Thessalonians 4:9. But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you, for ye yourselves are taught by God to love one another. This is obviously the King James. Hebrews 13:1. Let brotherly love continue. 1 Peter 1:22. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love for the brethren, see that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently. And 2 Peter 1:7, and brotherly kindness, let's start that again. And to godliness, brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness, charity. So we're going to deal with this issue of brotherly kindness and manifesting love one to another. So Lord, fill me with love. Release your love into me, into my mind, into my thoughts, into my actions. Lord, let your love flow through me to others. Give me eyes to see what you see, hands to touch what you want to touch, ears to hear those whom you would listen to. Lord, release your love through me. I want to talk this week and next on 5 stoppers of brotherly love. 5 stoppers of brotherly love. That's a really catchy title. Thank you for thinking of that. If you have a Bible or a phone, turn to 3 John. I'm going to read verses 5 to 11. Here's the number 1 stopper for divine, for this manifestation of love. 3 John. So you've got the Gospel of John, then you've got the epistles. 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. So it's right before Jude, which is right before Revelation. So it's right near the back. And I'm going to read verses 5 to 11. There's only 1 chapter in 3 John. I'm going to read to you verses 5 to 11. Here we go. Dear friends, you are faithful in what you are doing for the brothers, even though they are strangers to you. I think I'm reading in the NLT. They have told the church about your love. You do well to send them on their way in a godly manner. It was for the sake of the name that they went out, receiving no help from the pagans. We ought therefore to show hospitality to such men, so that we may work together for the truth. I wrote the church, but Diotrephes, that dirty rascal, Diotrephes. How many are sitting by a Diotrephes? No, don't answer that. I wrote the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first, will have nothing to do with us. See, I told you he was a dirty rascal. So if I come to you, I'm going to call attention on what he's doing, gossiping maliciously about us. He also stops those who want to do so and puts them out of the church. Dear friends, don't imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does what is evil has not seen God. Actually, that's the New International Version, I just noticed. So, Diotrephes, he's like a 2-year-old baby because he wants to be first. I've pastored for 40 years, and I've pastored my fair share of Diotrephes. People that are bullies and they want to be first. And if you're a bully and you want to be first, we're going to have your name on the slideshow next week, and we're going to call you Diotrephes. No, we're not. No, we're not going to do that. But there is something deep inside of us that wants to be first. You can see that when there's a sale. Remember that? The Kmart days. Blue light on the fourth eye, coffee for, 50 cents. And you were thinking that people never bought coffee for 100 years because they're attacking the stand and somebody's going to cut you off. Oh, and it's for coffee. It's the blue light. The blue light special. Now, blue light special is a beer now, isn't it? Well. Bet you that's more than 50 cents. There's something in us that wants to be first. You ever notice this? On a movie, if a ship is sinking and there's one door to get out, and everybody's going, here, please go in front of me. Bless your heart. Here, let me take your hand. Thank you. Come on, all you people. Yeah, it's just, no, you go. No, you go. Well, let's go together. Isn't this? No, people are they're killing each other to get out the door. Why? Deep down inside, every one of us want to be first. If this ship's going down, I'm grabbing my wife, and you suckers can drown. That's how we act. Come on. Because deep down inside, there's a Diotrephes that's kind of knocking at our door. We love to be first. And it's that Greek word there, whatever it is. And it has this idea of to aspire to be preeminent. I'll never forget this. This was, a long time ago. I don't know, 30 years ago or something. It's so long ago. I was the camp manager at Silver Birches Camp. How you know Jesus doesn't love you. Anyways, that particular year, I had invited James McKnight, our esteemed national superintendent, to come and preach for a week. How many remember James McKnight? Anybody remember him? Yeah, like this guy, he just radiated Jesus. Big shock of gray hair, always looked like $1 million, never anything out of place. And to hear this guy preach was to hear Moses preach. Like this guy could preach. Oh, wow. So anyways, we lucked out, and we booked James McKnight. How many have been to our beloved Silver Birches Camp? Anybody? A few of you. Well, Silver Birch's camp is renowned for Adams Hall, which, of course, would be related to the Adams family, which is here. They also have a TV program. You ever see that? That's a different Adams family. But Adams Hall is named after Sterling's father, Ted. So Ted Adams' picture is there, and there's candles there, and you pray over it when you go in. That's not true either. But after the service, everybody goes into Adams Hall to get cholesterol-fied. So you would suck back, the grease out of the grease pit and all that. And I remember I was forced to entertain Brother McKnight, because it was actually Jesus in the flesh. And I'm looking after him, and I chuckled to myself, because all the other pastors in the place, they're aspiring for preeminence, and they're coming around, and they're snuggling up to him, and they're trying to get first place around the table with Brother McKnight. And I watched it, and I would stand back, and I would just laugh, because it was so obvious. But you know what? There's something deep inside of us. We're all like that. Yeah. And it's a love stopper. Now, this isn't true of anybody here, I don't think, but we're going to bow our heads, and then you can point to people that you think it's true. Okay? I want to talk about spiritual bullies, okay? Spiritual bullies have egos as big as a house. I'm going to show you eight signs if you're a bully, and I'll do that this morning. I'll do it quicker. They believe that spiritual delusion. Spiritual bullies always have a need to correct everybody. You ever notice that? They're really annoying. They're right and we're wrong. They're demeaning. They put people down. They're self-proclaimed masters at something. Like they have the King James memorized. They wrote all of Chris Tomlin's music. They said it to him or whatever. And they're spiritually arrogant. I'm going to move ahead 2 slides. I'm going to go back to that next week. But I want to do this. 8 signs that you're a bully. Sign number 1, you're easily annoyed with people. I'm just reading the list. I'm not going to make any comment. I'm just going to read the list. You're unwilling or unable to learn from other people. I'm just reading it. Number 3, you're unwilling to admit when you've been wrong. You do most of the talking with very little listening. That's not talking about preaching, by the way. Just point of clarification. Wow, you become personally offended when someone doesn't follow your counsel. Number 6, you will often push your preferences just as much, if not more, than biblical principles. Number 7, you refuse to make any helpful provisions for another person, especially when they're different than you. Now, look at those 7, because when I show you the 8th one, the 7 are going to disappear, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. and I'd like to share that I felt bad about it, but I asked Charles, and he couldn't figure it out either. So after Charles couldn't figure it out, I felt brilliant. And number 8, you fear that another person might become more godly and more spiritually competent than you are. We have to admit, folks, there's a little Diotrephes lurking in every one of our hearts. Come on. There is. There is. And when that diatrophy arises, it stops love. It puts a break on the manifestation of divine love in our hearts and in our midst. Well, we got 1 of 5 done. But we're going to pick this up next week. Let's close our eyes. You know what? I could give an altar call and say, everybody who's got a diatrophy.